stressful. So, sometimes new actors make the mistake of doing a voice like that, and they can't maintain it after a half an hour. This will turn because it hurts. Wolverine's a very, very painful character to do, physically very demanding, and at the end of a session where Wolverine fights the Hulk, I literally feel like Fred Tatasciore beat me to a pulp. My whole body aches. So as new actors, make sure that if you are going to audition for something like that, you can sustain it.
Awesome.
Thanks, bud.
Hello.
Well, I do have a question since now you are officially a couple and getting engaged. When you argue, will it be in different characters?
I'm hoping it's Starscream against Governor Price.
I cleaned the cat box yesterday.
No, you did not. I did. Get it.
I'm not calling you Lord, you call me Lord.
Call you anything, rebel scum.
You guys have them all recorded.
We're gonna make an app that we talk to each other on and just catchphrases of do the dishes. Do the dishes. Yes. Yeah. Now we haven't argued yet.
No, not yet. Today could be the day. Who knows?
I don't know. You get to a point and you just get older, right? And it's like your priorities change, and you just think, is it really worth this battle? So you learn to pick your battles a lot. Things become simpler in a way, and a lot clearer, I think, as you get older. And it's just
Who's deciding on dinner?
well, exactly. You just become so grateful for what you have. I mean, oh my gosh, just never in my life. It's amazing. It's just you learn that gratitude is a really important thing to help in stressful times. We've been in stressful times lately, so to be grateful for what you got is like, oh, it's a good thing.
Yeah, plus she's an awesome nerd, and she lets me put my nerdy stuff around the house. She's a much better nerd than I am, in fact. There's a company called Sideshow Collectibles that makes these incredibly beautiful statues of everything in fandom. And they gave me this gigantic statue of Wolverine, and she let me put
On
it
a bridge, on a Japanese bridge, and there are arrows and snow everywhere, and he's got the snicked out.
and she let me put it on the dining room table.
You can turn it, you can see it from all different
So
directions.
I thought, I'm with a woman who lets me do that. This is the keeper.
Mary, since you were talking about it, can I ask about your...
Oh yeah, okay. So let's see if I get the spring. It's my favorite designer in LA is just an LA guy named Kyle Chan, and you could go on his website, and he does really sort of delicate, pretty little like hippie chic kind of stuff. That's sort of me. And I saw this on it, and it's just a really simple rope band with it's called a raw diamond. And to me, it looks like, remember the end of Men in Black when there's a bag of marbles with galaxies in it? Well, there are a couple galaxies in here, and a Horcrux, and a witch's soul, I believe. And it's just, I don't know, it's unusual, and it's us. So.
And the designer, doesn't make that version of it anymore. She told me like a year ago that she loved that ring, and if we ever got to that point, that's the one she wanted. And
you listened.
I listened. I got the size right and everything. But the designer said he didn't make them anymore, but he would make one especially for her because he really likes her. And he looked for like 3 months before he found the stone. He knows how geeky she is, so he wanted it to be right.
He's amazing. You're amazing.
You're
all amazing. I know. Yeah.
Steve, when are you going to be on Critical Role?
Well, I'm still getting my skill set together. Those guys intimidate me. They're like throwing planets at each other now. I'm level 4, so I'm a little intimidated by these guys, and they're my dear friends too. So my greatest fear, it's not a fear, but my greatest little piece of anxiety is that I'll get on the show, do something terrible, and do a TPK. And then they're all my dear friends. So I don't want to do that. I think they're getting close. I don't know how far along they are at this point, but maybe they'll do another campaign where they start at a lower.
I think so. We'll see them all get killed by doors.
On the
next campaign, they'll have better luck with doors.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about it. It's like they just threw me in at level, I don't know, 6 7 or 8 or something.
Yeah, but she's such a good student. She actually got the books and she dove in and she studied for like a week before she went on the show.
Because I was terrified of the same thing. I was like, what if I kill everybody?
I'm too lazy to do that. So I just want to come in and push stuff around and say stupid things. So we do that in our home game. We actually have a home game, and we're playing with Will Friedle and Shiloh Strong.
Brian Foster, Bobby Hall, Logic.
Yeah, any Logic fans here? Yeah, so Logic is playing in our campaign.
He's amazing.
Jen Muro is the writer for Forces of Destiny.
Called Galvin the Magnificent.
Yes.
Where is there a gambling establishment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a really great, easy way for me to learn. And eventually I'll get on the show, I think, at some point. They're all my buddies, so even if I'm just their pet for the week or so. I'll be Trinket's pet.
I know, I just got Laura Bailey some Trinket socks at Trader at the store down the street. So I was like, Trapper Vicks. Yeah, so Laura Bailey, there's some Trinket socks coming your way.
How about you, sir? Richard?
Yeah, I was curious, anime, video game, whatever, for each of you, what would you say is your favorite role that you've done? I know tall order because you got so many, but
Yeah.
I'm just curious. What would you say is your favorite?
It's whatever we're doing Monday, because it means we're still working.
There's truth to that, actually.
No, they're like family members to us, or children. You know, it's really hard to choose a favorite between them because each one at this point represents a different piece of us. Evil or good, or weird or straight, or however the character goes. We all have all of those elements to us as people, and we can fully express them in the embodiment of these characters. So to choose one kind of isolates all the other ones, and the great joy of
some
doing.
tentpole ones, don't you? You've got some that really.
Well,
This was a momentous. Like this changed my career.
Yeah, Spike changed my life, honestly, in so many ways, obviously leading to this. But in many, many ways, the character Spike in Cowboy Bebop itself led to many other roles. It was Samurai Champloo came from that, Megas XLR came from that, Toonami came from that. I found out later Legend of Korra came from that. The guys who create that show happen to be Bebop fans. They didn't tell me till the last day of recording of that show. They said, by the way, we're big fans of Bebop. I'm like, what?
I know. That's crazy.
Yeah, so that probably changed my life more than any other show, I think. And in games, oh God, it's so hard to choose. But either Grunt or Ogren, I think. And Ogren I just love because he was drunken dwarf, and I actually modeled my character in our game loosely on him. He used to call people ass chaps. And so, sorry kids, but it's a donkey. So I actually named my character Azure Chaps. So he's going to have a life that far transcends Dragon Age.
For me, I think it was obviously Bebop, but as an actor, it was probably Motoko from Ghost in the Shell, because I've been doing a lot of really bad television, where I was always the victim. I was always the battered woman. I had to be saved by Scott Bakula and Lorenzo Lamas, and I was always this victim. And after a while, it really sort of gets into your head after a while. I was like, I don't want to play a victim anymore. And I started playing Motoko, and I was like, I can play a strong woman. This is great. And I'm the one who goes and rescues people. And isn't that fun and interesting and new? And it was really empowering. And the show was so popular that Rebecca Sugar, the writer of Steven Universe, gave Crispin Freeman and I the roles of Connie's mom and dad on the show because they were such big fans of a sword, Connie, because they were such big fans of Ghost in the Shell. So that sort of led to one of my first roles on original animation, which was really exciting. So, but yeah, it's really hard to choose. It's like choosing your kids, which maybe isn't so hard to choose. But...
Thank you for trying.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you have any advice for people aspiring to be a voice actor?
Yes, go to iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. Honestly, we have nothing to do with it. It's written by D. Bradley Baker, who's one of the greatest, we mentioned him before, one of the greatest voice actors in the world. And he wrote this as a gift to the fans because we're asked this so often. And it's a fantastic resource for people who are just interested in the whole world of voice acting. It'll give you a great overview. He'll give you beginning exercises, links to great things. Yuri Lowenthal-Platt wrote a book called Voiceover Voice Actor, also a great resource. And then starting sometime this fall, I'm actually going to be launching a webinar series, and it'll be an instructive thing for new voice actors, and hopefully leading up to master classes at some point. And I'll be announcing that on my social media. And Mary's going to be a part of that too. She's going to be directing me, and from very beginning stages, we'll be doing a lot of stuff that will actually be of value to new voice actors getting in. And the biggest pet peeve that I've had over the years with voice acting instructors is that many of them who teach and demand a big salary for it aren't actually working voice actors. They may have had a few little things here and there, and they may have had a lot of training, but they're not actually working in the trenches, and they charge an enormous amount of money, so we're going to try to keep it really reasonable. And there's going to be a lot of free information on there too if you don't want to take it to that next level. But I would start with iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. It's a great gateway for you, and it'll explain to you what the business actually is, and it is a business. So if you go through that, there's probably 3 to 6 months worth of work just on that free website alone. If you go through that and you complete everything that he tells you to do, and you still want to be a voice actor, then I would suggest maybe moving on to the next thing. But it's not what you think it is. It's not just making silly voices into a microphone, and it's even if you have 10 characters, you might be called upon to do 15 more in this first session that you book, so you have to make sure that you've got a lot of chops under your belt and take your time with it too. Be very, very patient. The one piece of advice I will give you out of the gates is to do it because you love it, not because you want to get rich or famous. Because even if you do achieve those things, if you don't love what you're doing every day, it's going to be a hollow victory, and you'll be miserable doing that. And nobody wants to work at something that they're not happy doing. Once you take something like this, that it's a creative art form, and it becomes a business for you, you have to embrace that aspect of it too. You won't love it, but at least you'll love it enough so you'll be willing to do the other part that's necessary. So it's very, very hard work, and after having done it for 30 years, I work harder now than I ever have in my life. I bring a recording kit with me, and I record in our hotel room at night after these conventions. So I have one in my car, I have one in a backpack. I carry it with me at all times because we're constantly working. So.
But in terms of what you can do now, if you've got community theater, okay, let's say you can do a lot of voices, you can do a lot of impersonations, a lot of impressions of people. That's awesome, and that's a great way to start, because that means you've got a really good control of your voice and your own instrument. Now, build a support underneath that of being an actor. Take classes if you can, do community theater, lay down stuff. You can get a really cheap mic, you can just record it right into your phone. You can start your own YouTube channel, which doesn't cost a lot. I think it's just put a video camera, if you just record it on your phone. Get yourself out there, get yourself used to hearing your own voice, and move forward. You guys have a lot more avenues to show your own work before you ever get into the industry than we did growing up. The internet is an unbelievable place and resource for you to not only study, but also put your own stuff out there. In your own community, you can get used to being behind a mic by reading books for the blind. It's for free, but it's a great way to get used to reading, and it's long sessions. There's a whole other part of the industry that we don't do, that's books on tape. And that also, because if you ever listen to Jim Dale reading Harry Potter, he does a genius job at fleshing out every single character. My favorite is his Hermione, oh, Harry, and it's kind of a genius masterclass in acting. So if you can do anything like that in your own community right now, because eventually you're going to need to be where the work is. But I know that there are local commercials and everything else that you can also end up auditioning for at some point. But I would say be an actor as much as you can. You can rely on instinct for so long, but even those that aren't classically trained eventually become actors. So
yeah, and read for kids too, because they are the best teachers. I used to read for my kids' classes when they were in preschool all the way up through the end of elementary. And they were the most honest teachers I ever worked with. I would read Dr. Seuss books, and I would do all the different characters and different voices. And they would stop me right in the middle of the line. They'd say, "No, Mr. Blum, that's not how it would sound." I said, "Okay, well, how do you think it would sound?" And they'd do their impersonation of it, and I'd say, "Okay, that was good advice," and I'd move on. And sometimes friends and family, when you're working with them, especially if you're just getting started, will say, "That was great," and they'll cheer you on, but they won't give you constructive criticism. And you have to be open to listening to constructive criticism. The best ones to do that are the kids, because they have no filters. So don't be afraid of that.
Yes. Can you talk just a little louder? You know, it does sometimes. It's really interesting being a voiceover director because every human being is different. So I've got to work with all different kinds of human beings. And as actors, for me, every actor has a different key that will unlock them. And it's my job to find that key as quickly as possible. Every actor works differently. Some need a lot of context and tell me where I am, what am I doing, what's my motivation, would I really say this, why am I saying this? Some are, I don't want to know, don't tell me, just let me do this. Some are, I worked very specifically with a celebrity recently, and they brought me in to work with him and said, we've been having trouble, don't use the word bigger, louder, faster, and I was like, why? He says, because he doesn't want to hear it. I said, okay, and the first thing I said was, we're going to need a bigger take, much louder, and if you could pick up the pace, that'd be great if you go faster. And he said, why? And I said, you've got to trust us, you have to trust. I think the hardest part is for actors to trust that a director won't make them sound silly, and that was his greatest fear. He's a big celebrity. He's like, I don't want to appear silly. I'm very careful about my image. And I said, well, that is fine, but you have to trust us and trust that this is what's right for the character. And we will never disrespect you by making you look or sound disrespectfully silly. And if it's silly for the character, that's one thing. So you've got to key in really, really fast on how an actor works. Steve works very differently than Travis Willingham, than Will Friedle, than all these different actors. So it can be stressful, especially when you've got a group of people. I'm sort of the middleman translator between the row of producers behind me and the row of actors in front of me. And I've got to be able to take them saying, I don't like it. It's like blue, I need green. So I need to be that interpreter and then figure out a way to translate that to the actors so that I'll get the performance from them that won't hurt them physically, but will make the people behind me happy. So it's a really interesting, I love it. I just think it's a fascinating, and there are days that are really stressful. There are days where it's like pulling teeth. I become a dentist. I am a dentist! And it's not fun, but those are very few and far between. And did you have another part? There's a Sea Life Center? Where's that?
Seward.
Oh,
We don't have time.
I know. I have to leave tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah.
We're going to come back and spend a real long time here because it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And I hope you'll show us around sometime.
Yeah, I went and talked to the animals at the Wildlife Conservancy yesterday, and I howled with the wolves, and I was looking at a little bear and a bald eagle landed right on the tree above him. It was crazy, all these really amazing animal encounters. So yeah, we'll do that again. We'd love to do that stuff. How did you know that I like marine animals?
Oh, I said something while you were trying to get the mic.
Oh, you did, huh?
I talk about when you and I.
Oh, yeah. Behind your back. We should choose something over
Yes.
here.
Yeah. Yes. And then you're next.
So, hi, Mary. We're a big fan of Silent Hill.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, and especially like the soundtrack. So I was wondering, what was that like working with, Japanese composer for that series? I mean, you worked on so many, so
Yeah.
how did you get that job?
It was amazing. I had done a song for Ace Combat Zero, The Journey Begins, and so they knew that I was a singer. My first job in LA was singing at a place called the Smokehouse. A lot of trailers for sale, Tippy Waitress, it was all of that. So I'd always been singing my whole life. And the company I was working for, Zero Limit, we both actually were working for, Zero Limit Productions, got a call from Konami and Akira Yamaoka, the Japanese composer, saying we want a female vocalist. And I sang a song and I got the job. And I remember going in, we would do 4 songs every year. Like we would go in and do Silent Hills Game 3, track 1, 2, 3, 4. And we would do it, I would get the music a week beforehand, and we'd go in and rehearse, and then we'd do 4 songs over 2 days. And we'd just play around, and Akira would come, and for a guy that writes really dark music, he's the sweetest, nicest, happiest person you'll ever meet. It's fun because we're on stage playing together, and he's just got this huge grin, and the two of us are like, yeah! And we're singing about how much you hate your mom, you know, lullabies and everything. And he's kind of a genius because he would write these songs. That song in particular, Room of Angel, is a lullaby, but the lyrics are about how much you hate your mother and how much you despise her. And then you've got this other song called The Letter, which is the saddest music in the world, but the lyrics are all about we were put here to feel joy. So Silent